Hi everybody from Valencia or close to Valencia. I got to try out the brand new Speed 400, the new one-cylinder bike by Triumph today, and how it rides we'll see in this video. So in the past, the entry to the Triumph world was probably like the Street Twin 900 or the Trident 660, of course. But you didn't really have a smaller bike to get into the Triumph world. And many people don't either need so much power or they have a license that doesn't allow them to have a larger displacement bike. So now we finally have a 400cc bike, or to be accurate, 398cc bike by Triumph. It's a one-cylinder. It's made from scratch, so it's a brand new engine, a brand new concept. And it's actually, they have two new models. This one here is the Speed 400. And then there's also a Scrambler 400X that I'll do an extra video on. But in this video, I'm specifically going to talk about this bike that I've been riding so far today. And yeah, let's start with something that I would normally not start with, but it's the thing that is probably the most interesting about this bike, because you can see it looks really, really high quality, premium, and the price is the thing that I was just talking about. In Germany, it's around 5,300. Of course, I don't know which country you're in, so check out the price in your country, but for these kind of components and the finish and all the details, this is a really, really good, reasonable price. But let's get into the details. All right, let's have a little walk around the new bike. Seeing it in real, I'm so stoked that it looks as nice as on the photos. I thought maybe, you know, for this price, it's gonna look cheap at some parts, but it really doesn't. They really have the Triumph DNA in there, the typical designed and shaped tank, really nice finish with the logo. You have the black parts on the engine, the fin cylinder head, this silencer that looks very sporty, and typically Bonneville, or taken from the Bonneville, you have the chain on the right side, and you have a golden anodized fork. The suspension, front and rear, is, by the way, from Endurance, it's called. It's an Indian brand, and I can tell you already that I was really happy with the suspension, and I also asked the other guys, also the little heavier guys, and they were really happy with the suspension so far too. So it really soaked up bumps really nicely. It was comfortable, but also quite sporty. So I think only if you like really go too up and with a lot of luggage, it might get to its limits. But so far for this ride, it worked really well. And you can also adjust the rear suspension, the preload of it. The front is not adjustable. And yeah, so you see a lot of really high quality components already. Then you have the display. Of course, you have full LED and typically the Triumph logo in there. Here you have the cockpit that shows you the most important stuff. I mean, for example, of course, speed, then revs, the gas that's still in your tank. You can have the consumption shown. By the way, we have a 13-liter tank, and a consumption, and I checked it while we were riding, it was always around 3.5. Sometimes less, sometimes more, of course, but average 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers. So you can really go almost 350 kilometers without getting gas, which is pretty neat, I would say. And it also shows you if your traction control is on or off, because you can switch off the traction control. The ABS is not, you cannot switch off. By the way, the traction control and the ABS is made by Bosch, so also here you see the high quality components. The brake is by Bybre, and as you probably know, Bybre is a brand from Brembo, so by Brembo. And this is a 300 millimeter disc, and they do a really great job. So they are really not aggressive, but they definitely stop you in time, and you have a really good feel for the front brake. So this is great. You have the very sporty Metzler Sportec M9RR on them. Yeah, very radical for this bike. I was surprised that they put such sporty tires on them. But of course, for the handling, it's great. In the morning, but the roads here are quite slippery. In the morning, I was kind of a little insecure. But later, you know, on these mountain roads here, we had such a blast. And let's get to the ergonomics of this bike. So, when I sit on it, my knee angle is really comfortable for me. I'm 5'6" or 1 meter and 69 centimeters. And I love the position of the handlebars because you're not leaned forward too much, so it's not too sporty or too uncomfortable. You're quite upright, and it's just a very active but not too sporty position. So I really appreciated this. And then these mountain roads here, when it got really tight, this showed that for roads like this, for example, or for everyday life, you actually don't need more than 40 horsepower. Of course, sometimes it's nice to have more horsepower, but the things we rode today were just right and were so fun. I love actually press rides like this, where you only have lower displacement bikes, because then you can really squeeze the bike, and that's so much fun. And in the tight corners, this bike handles so well. It's 170 kilograms, fully fueled, and yeah, you just go from one turn to the other in that flow, and it's so agile and really handles well. It just wants to go into corners all the time, and of course in like traffic, swerving through through other cars. This is just such a toy. But on the other hand, it feels like a bigger bike. So when you sit on it and you ride it, it doesn't give you the impression of a small bike at all. And I think they really nailed it with this one, because that was really missing in the lineup of Triumph so far. And I think this will not only attract new riders, it will also attract people who are experienced but just don't need so much horsepower, because of course you on the one hand save money, on the other hand it's not intimidating at all, but you can have plenty of fun. And yeah, I can only recommend it, and maybe some use it as a second bike. I asked the press guy of Triumph and asked him, like, because you can already buy it, by the way, and I asked him who are the buyers of this bike, and he said it's like completely different. So you have beginner riders, but you also have experienced riders. It's through all ages, and I can totally see that, because this design is timeless, so it appeals to so many people. And actually there's not a lot of competition to this bike. I haven't talked about the engine yet. So we have a liquid-cooled one-cylinder with 398 cc, which delivers 40 horsepower at around 8,000 RPM, and 37.5 Newton meters at around 6.5 thousand RPM. And you could really feel while riding that it has the very best moments in its mid-range. So once you get over 6,000 RPM, It has a lot of punch. It's good from down below. It's not very spectacular, but in the mid-range it really is the most fun. And riding through the tight corners and the mountain roads, I could even sometimes be in fourth gear coming out of a tight corner. It would still pull me out of there. So I really appreciated this about this engine. Of course, it's a 1-cylinder, so the throttle response is a little chucky when you're going slow speeds, but it's much better than I know it from other 1-cylinders, and so the throttle response is definitely smoother than I expected it to be. There is a little delay in the throttle response. You get used to it quite fast. It was the same with the Trident 660. There was also a little delay. I don't know why they do it, but it really, you get used to it. It was just in the beginning, my first impression. And of course, I didn't talk about the seat height yet. So here we have 790 millimeters, so it's a very accessible seat height for many riders. The guy riding in front of me, he must have been around 1.90 meters or something. So he was quite tall, and on him the bike looked quite small. But for me, it was just perfect, and even for smaller guys, it is so light, and you could reach the ground so easily. It's also very narrow around here, so I think this appeals to many also smaller riders. What's very convenient is that you have a USB socket here on the side of the cockpit, so you can charge your phone or your navigation while riding. And also typically for Triumph is that you can get a lot of accessories. I think there is 25 accessories that you can get. I would probably get a little windshield because the wind, I don't know, I don't like too much wind in my face. And also you can get a lot of luggage options. You can get heated grips, which we didn't have on here, which was a bummer because in the morning it was quite cold. So you can really individualize your bike here and have it fit your riding style or your needs while riding. So I think that's about it, what comes to my mind. I'm really excited now because I'm gonna switch now to the Scrambler 400, and in the other video you will see my thoughts on the Scrambler 400. I will also probably do a little comparison because it's quite different, even though it has the same engine. But there are some major changes, so if you can decide whether you should get the one or the other, then definitely check out the other video too. I'm super curious. We're gonna start off with some gravel road and then do some more street riding. Yeah, all right. I hope this answered your questions. Feel free to comment, and if you like this video, I'm happy to receive a thumbs up, I would say. Let's now swap bikes, and I'll see you maybe at the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.